So it's supposed to be day 8 or day 9, I believe. And this is a confessional because for at least 2 weeks, I completely failed in this challenge to do a connection with myself and to meditate for an hour a day. Probably when I needed it most. And actually, what happened was that I had really, really, really intense things going on, and it just felt like I don't have enough time. That feels like the predominant excuse or feeling. Actually, it's not just an excuse, it's actually a feeling in my body. I don't have enough time. There's this fear. And then today, I didn't even force myself. I wanted to do my meditation. It took 45 minutes before all of the voices had calmed down. I'm not like hearing things, like this is just like all this stuff. So I allowed myself when I meditated today to actually write stuff down. So as soon as a thought came to my mind that something was bothering me, I would just literally write it down as if to like get it out of my head. And when I got to 45 minutes, I finally was like, oh, wow, I can actually like relax for a second. And I didn't realize how much tension I've had. And what I wanted to talk about today, what came up for me, is that I realized that I had so much tension in my jaw. It was like actually physically hurting. Like in the night when I'm in bed, I wake up and I will be like, oh, my jaw hurts. And a few years ago, I had like a really swollen belly, and I saw this healer, and she said, I think you have a blocked valve. And she recommended me to see someone who specializes in the colon. And what this woman said was, actually, it's coming from here. And she said, all this tension you're holding in your jaw is because you're grinning and bearing it. And she pressed her fingers. If you want to do it, some people don't have any tension here, but it's basically you find the jaw here and you push up and in. Oh. And sometimes it can make me cry. I can even feel it now if I keep pressing. Oh, so much tension. And then you might actually press in different points. You can actually put your fingers in your mouth and actually press the jaw and give yourself a jaw massage. And basically this woman said to me that she said, you're grinning and bearing it. And so during this meditation, it made me realize what I'm doing this again, like how often I grin and bear things. And I realized that I've been taught that from a really young age. Bless my mom, but with her ballet background, etc., it was very much, just put up with it. In the theatre, there are expressions, leave your problems at the stage door. That means suck it up. Whatever's going on, we don't care. When I was at the Royal Ballet School, I was being so badly bullied by the staff and the pupils that I was, I was 16 away from home, and I didn't have a safe place. Didn't have a safe place at home, and I didn't have a safe place at school. So I went into the assistant of the director at the time, and I shared with her, which was very difficult for me to do because, again, everyone's trying to get into the Royal Ballet Company. No one wants to be considered weak. And I said to her what was going on. She said, well, if you don't like it, there's the exit. What she was saying, again, was grin and bear it. And even in the theatre, there's this thing called smile and nod, smile and nod. It's basically disassociate from the truth of your feelings and just put up with it. And what I've noticed is that when I'm unhappy with something, through training, I am able to tolerate it for a really long time. I do this with men, I do this with relationships, I do this with pain sometimes. I do this when someone's mistreated me and a situation's going on at the moment where I feel disrespected, and I am addressing it. But the person is not, coming back to me with what we agreed and what I want. And in the meantime, because I've learned to grin and bear it, I'm not getting angry with this person, or I'm just keeping my patience. And the problem with doing this is that you end up becoming like a volcano that's just, simmering. And then suddenly it's like, And then all your friends and everyone around you is like, what the hell happened? Why are you so, emotional or crazy? And it's because you've been tolerating. Grin and bear it. So today was very much about looking at the situations where I grin and bear it and seeing if I can stop doing that now. And just stop tolerating things, putting in boundaries with people if they're just walking all over your boundaries. And other people aren't going to know what our boundaries are unless we voice them. I often assume that people know that I'm hurt by their actions. My brother didn't invite me to his 40th birthday. I'm hurt by that. But he doesn't know because I don't voice it, because I'm feeling so hurt and so vulnerable. And I don't want to attack him, and I don't want to go into a full-blown argument or discussion. I don't like it when he gets defensive, and then we don't really get anywhere, and then I get blamed for being too sensitive, and we kind of haven't got anywhere. So because of that, I just grin and bear it, because it's like I don't want to deal with, the discussion. And so that's a taught mechanism. So my question is, where are you grinning and bearing it?